Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. Two, three questions. One friend wrote, I am a regular follower of the daily talk, clarificates literature, so good. Can you please elaborate Lakshanas of Atma Swarup, Satchit Ananda? We have heard this word, Satchit Ananda, many a time. Literal meaning is there. First of all, we should know that God is the Atman, the Spirit, because of which now these words are coming, because of which every one of us feel the existence, beingness, and the awareness. So when this is the very subject, how can we explain about it? The subject is trying to explain the subject, Is it possible? We are trying to express with the medium of a thought. And thought again is it exists in that it gets activated because of the presence of Atman. So how can the thought conceive and say this is that? So this is that. So why, though initially all aspirants keep on asking these questions, a stage comes when we realize that we are trying to understand mentally or intellectually the outcome of our sadhana. Whereas we are still on the sadhana. The outcome of the sadhana cannot be conceptualized. That concept means a limitation is there. It can't be unlimited. When they say anirvachyam, it can't be defined. That means it cannot be brought within the ambit of knowledge. Only an object can become the object, can come in the orbit of our knowledge. Anything other than me means not the small ego. That power by which these words are expressed now. However much we try, we cannot. To probe deep into it, it might help us in our sadhana, no doubt. For example, when Papa defined this bliss, what is bliss? He coined out a beautiful word, objectless happiness. Normally, happiness is based upon acquiring or possessing or enjoying or indulging an object. Think about it. So when the object is not there, but at the same time happiness, an objectless happiness, can we explain further? No. It has given us some clues. We have some idea about happiness. We have some idea about object. So the objectless happiness, it can only be felt by everybody. Awareness. How can we explain about awareness? We know that these words are being welling up. What is that? Can you explain? The very fact that we know we are, it is undisputable fact, we don't need anybody to certify that we exist. We just start thinking about, can we explain anything further? We don't need anybody to come and tell us that we exist. What is it that makes us to feel exist? So that is why in our reply we said, though the Atman being the subject cannot be explained like any other object, for enabling the aspirants to assimilate the attributes of the Atman, they use the word Satchidananda, which stands for absolute existence, consciousness and bliss. However much we try to explain, we may not be able to bring it out in black and white, because it is purely through experiencing only one can understand. Sat stands for beingness. I am there now. The amness, ayu, they remove the I, amness. That is the being. Further we cannot explain. Then Chit stands for awareness and bliss stands for objectless happiness. As aspirants, let us put ourselves on a process to go to the source, the outcome of which will give us the real meaning of the word Satchidananda. Broad idea is there. Another important question, very, very important question, but we don't know how far it is necessary for our present sadhana. But anyhow, to understand Papa's philosophy in a deeper way, this question serves. While searching for Papa's messages, which further can help us to go one step ahead in our journey, it was noticed that in the letters of Swami Ramdas, volume number 1, where Papa wrote to a devotee that true bhakti can securely raise its structure only on the basis of Advaita realization. Self-knowledge and bhakti. Really speaking, they are the two sides of the same coin. What we understand by self-knowledge, what we understand by bhakti, it all depends upon that. But while going through Papa's teachings, it becomes very, very clear that impersonal person, you remember that word? No. It is not impersonal alone, it is not personal alone. Impersonal person. In that letter, what Papa says is, whatever the statement that saints have made at different stages in the course of their spiritual development, Ramdas claims from the highest spiritual experience that true bhakti can securely raise its structure only on the basis of Advaita realization. You cannot be a devotee in the highest sense of the term unless you have realized your perfect oneness with God and all His aspects. A drop can realize the ocean provided it permits itself to be merged in it. Truly, in essence, the ocean and the wave are one. This knowledge alone can make the wave play cheerfully on the bosom of the ocean. And very important next one. The individual I, in existence presumed to be separate from the universal life and spirit, must go utterly. Thereafter, the personality that is attained by the individual is not local and finite, but universal and infinite. The duality of God and his devotee is assumed by the one indefinable truth for the sake of Leela. Let us not forget, therefore, that Advaita is the real basis for true Dvaita. Both are equally great in significance. Saints do the teaching, but our own experience is the test of the teaching. Hanging on to spiritual pegs is not realization. Perception and experience alone can grant us the full comprehension and realization of truth. The proper thing to do is to go within and explore the uttermost depth of your being and know what and who you are in reality. Swimming on the surface, holding on to external props, without aspiring to dive deep down into the bottom, can give us only a hazy and imperfect vision of truth, which is the source of all life and manifestation. This source is forever and always the Supreme One. When we are asked to chant God's name, the process starts. Ultimately, it is to still the mind. In the stillness, utterance of God's name is to make the mind ultimately still, free from all thoughts. In the stillness it is that you know and realize God. So when we start uttering the name, the devotee is there. Bhagavan is there. But as we keep on chanting, when the chanting stops, does the devotee, sense of devotee exist? Think. Vaishnav Papa clearly mentions about it. In the stillness it is that you know and realize God. Bhajan, Kirtan, Namasmaran are all means to that end. You have to repeat, chant or sing the name, no doubt, for a certain period. After that, repetition must cease. Mind must become still. In the stillness, duality is transcended. The repeated and the repeated, devotee and God become one. Advaita realization. So we are starting and then we come back. No? That is where duality exists. We don't remain there for a long time. Having tasted it, God makes us to come back to the sense of individuality. But this will be based on that. That's what he says. Bhakti can securely raise its structure only on the basis of Advaita realization. You cannot be a devotee in the highest sense of the term unless you have realized your perfect oneness with God in all respects. So when we take to Nama chanting and when the stillness happens, and then when we come out, we realize. Because stillness we will not be able to hold on for a longer time. But now we know that the thought means from the stillness it has come. We have learnt it from our experience now that nama chanting is also a thought. And the thought stops when we closely observe the sound. The sound comes from the base of the soundlessness. Soundlessness is stillness. The sound that you hear is what comes out of the infinite silence. The sound, through the sound, we enter into the perfect stillness within us. So what is common in everybody, the common factor, the enlivening principle is one and the same. But that can be realized only when the me and mine is not there. When the absence of otherness is not there, then only we can realize. And then again we come back. That is why even after scaling the heights, Papa could maintain a relationship between the Almighty indwelling reality and the sense of individuality. Now the sense of individuality is a purified sense of individuality. Now when we are all now connected with the world based on the individual level. They are connecting with the world at the cosmic level. So based on that means Advaitic, Another way of understanding is, normally when we say bhakti, we attach ourselves to deities. We all know what happens to us, honestly. The God remembrance does not stay with us throughout. Because it is outside, One thrill is there when we go there, we attend, we offer. When we think, various anecdotes remain attached to the deity. But then what happens to me? Whether the me and mine is getting reduced. Instead of that, suppose we try to realize the presence of Him inside, and then we go to the temple and see that this is a symbol with all Chaitanyam, for me to get reminded because I am busy with so many preoccupations, where the me and mine always comes, so the subservience aspect I forget. So when I go to temple, when I think about temple, when I think about the deity, you are there, only by you I can understand. The sweetness is there. In the other one, if that is the only one, it is dryness. Here the sweetness is there. But this should be supported by that. And the wonderful word Vinobaji says is, self-knowledge must ultimately emerge from the womb of devotion. The plant of bhakti must blossom into the flower of self-knowledge. So initially we are all bhaktas, Many of us, most of us. We are all bhaktas. We have developed some devotion towards some deity, some guru. And then ultimately we find what is happening to me. I am still within the fence of me and mine. My guru, my Ishtadevata, my Guradevata, all those things we say that, Absolutely there is no change. Because I see him as something other than me. We don't know how far we are making it clear. Unless you travel with us in that move, it will be very difficult. The harmonious blend of these two is what Papa places before us. Not merely bhakti, not merely jnana. But bhakti has got an upper hand. Because it is sweet. But bhakti, bereft of jnana, we have seen in our life. We are not thinking about bhaktotamas, They are exclusive. Let us think about ourselves, Let us think about ourselves. We have got bhakti towards various deities, we observe certain things, we go to temples. So many things we do that. There is a joy behind it. Everything is 100% right. Probably out of our intense devotion we may pray and the prayer will be heard. We attribute that prayer, the hearing of the prayer to the deity, and our faith becomes more and more stronger. Everything is there. But suppose you ask the question, what happens to me? Whether I am getting freedom from desires, whether I am getting freedom from cravings, whether I am in a position to expand my love circle, whether I am seeing the deity in everybody, whether the deity is there. Suppose we go to the origin of the deity, we find, Vinobaji says, suppose it is made up of something, the deity in a temple is made up of some material. Panchaloha or stone or marble or something, And he says, it is not easy to clearly distinguish between Saguna and Nirguna. What appears Saguna from one angle may appear Nirguna from another. In Saguna worship, a stone image is looked upon as a symbol of God. But it is in the mother and the saint that divine consciousness is clearly manifest. Still, they are not worshipped as images of Lord. Instead of serving the people full of consciousness, instead of seeing Saguna God in them, God is seen in an inanimate stone. To see God in a stone is in a sense the height of Nirguna. If God is not to be imagined in a stone, where else can we see Him? Here comes, the Nirguna aspect. A stone is the most appropriate thing to become God's symbol. It is as it is unruffled, unmoved, peaceful, undisturbed under any condition. Because in the rest of the people, our parents, neighbors, people in general, all these have their weaknesses. You are bound to find some weakness or fault in them. And serving them in a sense more difficult than worshipping a stone. In a stone we cannot, To sum up, Saguna and Nirguna are complementary to each other. Saguna is easier than Nirguna. But in other sense, Nirguna is easy, Saguna is difficult. Both lead us to the same end. So here, Papa's we have to keep on going within. Clearly, he says, only through inward journey this can be made. He has made all these things he has given. In a small book, we have compiled in inward journey. There you will find utterance of God's name is to make the mind. We are all votaries of God's name. So we should remember this often. Initially we are chanting. Utterance of God's name is to make the mind ultimately still, free from all thoughts. In the stillness it is that you know and realize God. In the stillness duality is transcended. The repeated and the repeated, devotee and God become one. So probably why this question now? Papa raised through one devotee. Just to ensure that we get some clarity in our sadhana. We take it like that. Otherwise, we may be satisfying ourselves, controlling ourselves that we are doing this much of Ramnam, this much of this. That is enough. It's alright. Ramnam will not go in vain. Ramnam will definitely lead us to the goal. But at the same time, something more has to be done for speed. When somebody asks Sharadamani Devi, without knowing all these things, if I repeat Ramnam, She said, casually, immediately, spontaneously. When you eat something, the taste is there, Similarly, in God's name will have its own effect. The only thing is about the time taken. But we don't want that excuse to be extended to us. We cannot satisfy ourselves by that. We have to realize His presence. We should know that every word comes from because of Him. That is how Papa scaled the heights. He was able to scale the heights in 2 years. Between 1920 and 1922, in this struggle, before he plunged into the vast area, banking upon God and God only, 27th December 1922. Before that, he was established that it is God who is making him to go. It is God that who is behind thought, word and deed. And because of the subconscious stage was there, he was able to maintain the relationship of God and devotee, Bhakta and Bhagavan. The sense of individuality is still there, until the body is dropped, until the mind exhausts all its vasanas, until the whole thing is freed from the karmic wrangle. The sense of individuality will continue to exist. But this sense of individuality becomes a pure. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa takes it as Pakka and Kacha. Pakka ego and Kacha ego. This Pakka ego is only for the sake of sense of individuality because the body is there. Everything else it is connecting itself to the cosmic realm. No self-interest is there. Nothing will come from on the basis of the me and mine. Kacha, it is not. Everything comes from the me and mine. So that is why we will once again read Papa's beautiful explanation in that letter. Whatever the statement that saints have made at different stages in the course of their spiritual development, Ramdas claims from the highest spiritual experience that true bhakti can securely raise its structure only on the basis of Advaita realization. True bhakti can securely raise its structure only on the basis of Advaita realization. You cannot be a devotee in the highest sense of the term unless you have realized your perfect oneness with God in all its aspects. A drop can realize the ocean provided it permits itself to be merged in it. Truly, in essence, the ocean and the wave are one. This knowledge alone can make the wave play cheerfully on the bosom of the ocean. Then he emphatically says, the individual I, an existence presumed to be separate from the universal life and spirit, must go entirely. Thereafter, the personality that is attained by the individual is not local and finite, but universal and infinite. The duality of God and His devotee is assumed by the one indefinable truth for the sake of Leela. Let us not forget, therefore, that Advaita is the real basis for true Dvaita. Both are equally great in significance. Saints do the teaching, but our own experience is the test of the teaching. All these things he is telling. Harish. Yathechati tathagut. No? That's what Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita. Taught him everything. Then finally he said, whatever you feel like, you pursue and find out. Here Papa, all these things he said, but he says, saints do the teaching, but our own experience is the test of the teaching. Hanging on to spiritual pegs is not realization. Perception and experience alone can grant us the full comprehension and realization of truth. The proper thing to do is to go within, explore the uttermost depth of your being and know what and who you are in reality. Swimming on the surface, holding on to external props, without aspiring to dive down into the bottom, can give us only a hazy and imperfect vision of truth, which is the source of all life and manifestation. The source is forever and always the Supreme One. So from today onwards, when we chant Ram Nam, let this be there. That is the purpose. Probably Papa prompted a devotee to raise this fundamental point and a vital point. We are deeply grateful to God, because when Papa wrote this to a devotee, some devotee was prompted to take the lead of compiling all these books, compiling all these letters, and then they brought it out in the form of a book, Letters of Swami Ramdas. And these letters, if you remember right, in 30s, 20s, late 20s and early 30s, Papa's, after the enlightenment, from that platform, he was replying this. So why has he prompted that particular devotee to raise this letter that was written in 1930 or 31? Yesterday, if it has to come by email, then we start thinking, why? So that means Papa wants us to have the proper perspective while involved in the sadhana of Nama chanting and all our spiritual discipline. Me and mind must go. So that is very, very clear now. Dvaita or Advaita. So when the sense of individuality is not there, that is called Advaita. And when it comes back to a sense of individuality, after the Advaitic realization, it becomes pure. It's though it continues to be a sense of individuality. This much only we can go through the thoughts. So that is why he says, you take to inward journey. Swimming on the surface will not do. Explore the uttermost depth of your being and know what and who you are. It is the most difficult because we have not trained our mind to go deep within. Our scientific knowledge, our entire knowledge is based upon everything outside. So mind is not trained. The moment we close our eyes, again the mind goes out only. So then Papa thought, holding on to the Nama will slowly free you from this. And that is what he did. So he placed it before us. But we should know the perspective he had right from the beginning. He says here, Ramdas, through a ceaseless repetition of the divine mantra, side by side with the concentrated meditation on the all-pervading, eternal, ever-blissful, indwelling God, had attained freedom and peace even before his advent into the world as a mendicant. That means before 1922. That was the time when he became a mendicant. Even before that, this was very clear to him. Ramdas, through a ceaseless repetition of the divine mantra, side by side with the concentrated meditation on the all-pervading, eternal, ever-blissful, indwelling God, had attained freedom and peace even before his advent into the world as a mendicant. That means he was very clear that the God he was seeking was within and was happening only by his will. This clarity and conviction got stabilized in him within a short time because of remembering God through chanting of his name ceaselessly and contemplating on his divine attributes simultaneously. Many of us do the chanting only, So here Papa is placing before us. The first stage we have somehow succeeded. Even for that stage, to reach that stage is the toughest job. Instead of thinking about something, instead of talking about something, at least the mind now, starts enjoying the chanting. But still, where are we? So he says, side by side. That means we presume that from 1920 to 1922, because 1920 really, the struggle started. So 1920 to 1922, in these 2 years, he was able to practice this simultaneously. That is why he could declare what is written now in this letter. You cannot be a devotee in the highest sense of the term unless you have realized your perfect oneness with God. Ramdas claims from the highest spiritual experience that true bhakti can securely raise its structure only on the basis of Advaita realization. Today's topic is very, very, very subjective. Very, very subjective. And probably the most needed one for us. So while we chant, we try, we pray to Him. We have to train ourselves. But then you will find your own method of going towards it. So far we have not tried. That is why the only chanting, only chanting. So not only chanting, we are chanting because the power is there in us. What is that power? So one part of the mind is going in search of that power. Another part of the mind is chanting. This is simultaneously going on. One part of the mind is having some taste or some glimpse of the silence. Another part of the mind is fully engrossed in the sound. One part of the mind says, I am chanting. I have the feeling that I am chanting. Another part of the mind says, the chanting is made possible because the existence is there, life force is there, God is there. So like that, we have to balance this simultaneously. And in that process, what is the tangible gain? Mind will not go out. One part of the mind is chanting, Another part of the mind is delving deeper and deeper and deeper into this. With the result, the mind, the thought does not go out at all. It has fenced itself. And the result is that slowly we enjoy both. If it is bereft of chanting, it becomes dry. If it is bereft of this deep thinking, it becomes superficial. What is happening to me? This question will answer. All our prejudices, rights and wrong, likes and dislikes, everything is intact, in spite of our doing decades of sadhana. Those who are trying to bring in this dimension along with the chanting, they get the warning whenever we go off the track, when we cross the Lakshman Rekha, hey, what are you? And we correct ourselves. We openly go and apologize. Because the ego is, getting thinned out. Real test. So this evaluation should go on. What is happening to me? In spite of my labeled sadhanas. Anyway, it's a serious topic. Tomorrow is Sunday, no? Tomorrow is Sunday. So we will meet on Monday. Enough time for everybody to think about it. Don't leave it like that. It's the most needed topic for all of us. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om, Hari Om.